Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and this is day 16 of me making YouTube videos and gratitude lists. So, yay, I made it to day 16, and it has a 6 in it. So, I love that. My birthday, it's not my birthday today, but it's on the 16th. So, I got to turn 16 on the 16th, and today is the 16th. So, yay! I know, that was a really long time ago, but I still get excited about 16. I like that number. Not excited about my kids turning that age, but anyway, whole other story. I am making my YouTube videos, obviously, and my mind just went completely blank, which was not nice of it. Um, because, okay, sorry, I will try to get my brain to function and think about what it is that God wants me to say or share with you today, because I feel like the only way I can make these YouTube videos is by saying a prayer and trusting that the Lord will tell me what I need to say so that I can feel good about myself saying it, and so that I actually have something to say and feel like I said something that might benefit someone else, and that I'm not just making some crazy random ramblings that don't make any sense, because a lot of times I feel like I don't make any sense. So hopefully I can say something that will make some semblance of sense for today's thing. I don't know if I've mentioned before, but I journal. I've journaled most of my life. I have journals going all the way back to second grade. Not that I've written every single day of my life since second grade, but I also have like huge gaps, like years and months in between days that I've written. And I haven't done a lot of writing since my divorce about 4 years ago. But I have started journaling again since I've started doing this. And last night I attempted to write a chapter in my book. I did write a chapter in my book, but when I sat down to do it, I had what I call a mental block. I don't consider it writer's block, because honestly, I can think of everything that I need to say. I can imagine the conversation in my head. I can tell anybody the story from start to finish, what's going to happen in my book with my characters. I can even, figure out the sentences in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, and I do that. I stop and think, okay, what's the next thing I got to say? And I figure out how to say it in my head, and then I type it up. I don't just sit there and type it up. So maybe it takes me a little bit longer, because that's my process. I have to think and figure it out in my head first, and then I can type up what I figured out. So I figure all of this out in my head, and I go to type it, and I swear my hands just kind of freeze. They're just like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. So I call this a mental block, or maybe a subconscious self-sabotage, because I just have some kind of aversion to finishing things or doing things. And it's sometimes frustrating to me. It's very frustrating. I've also noticed that I will stay up all night. I'll stay up really late until I'm so tired I can't keep my eyes open to go to bed, because I'm waiting for myself to finish doing all the things that I said I was going to do for the day. But at some point, I've just decided I'm done and I'm not going to do it. So rather than being gentle with myself and saying, okay, it's fine, you're not going to do this, just go to bed, I don't, because I know when I go to bed, I have that cycle spinning in my head of all the stuff I didn't do, and then I can't sleep, and then it's just frustrating and irritating, and it's not a happy place to be. And it feeds my depression and my downward cycle that I'm trying to break by making these videos and doing these gratitude lists. So last night, instead of giving up on writing my chapter, I decided to just type up all the reasons I didn't want to write my chapter. So I wrote a really long paragraph, I don't know, 5-6 sentences. I'm not sure I even put them in proper sentences. It didn't really matter. I was just listing reasons I didn't want to finish my book, or I didn't want to write. And I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but they're all the same emotional things, worried about what other people are going to think, if they're going to like my book when it's finished, what am I going to do next when I'm finished, or the realization that as I write these characters, that I'm writing a part of myself. As they're working through their issues, I'm working through my issues, and maybe a part of me is jealous because they get the happy ending and I want a happy ending. But I realize that my definition of a happy ending might be distorted as well, because I always grew up with, the fairy tale ending where you meet Prince Charming and you get to live happily ever after, whatever that means. Well, I met some guy I thought was Prince Charming. Not at all true. Not Prince Charming at all in my book. Not anymore. Anyway. And that didn't work. That was supposed to be my happily ever after, and it didn't work. And then I was devastated, and then I felt like, well, then I don't get a happily ever after. But happily ever after doesn't have to mean a relationship with someone else. It can be just being happy with myself, happy with who I am, with what I'm doing in my life, with the direction my life is going, and knowing that I have a solid relationship with my Heavenly Father, and that He's guiding me and helping me, and He wants me to be happy, which is why He keeps bugging me to do these YouTube videos. And yes, I said bugging, because sometimes it feels like that, where it's like, I don't want to do something, and there's that just little nudge in the back of my head. It's like, yeah, but you need to do this. Yeah, but you need to do this. And I'm like, I don't want to. And then I do it. And then I feel better because I did it. And I was like, oh, I wish I would just stop fighting and just say, okay, I'll do it. But I haven't got to that point yet. And last night was just another reminder that God has given me the gift of writing. And it's not just a gift to share with other people or to bless other people. It's how I process things. It's how I can see things clearly, to put things in their proper perspective, to realize that it's silly to worry about what's going to happen to my book once it's published. I'm like, okay, yes, I'm putting it out there. Yes, it means moving on to the next book or series of books that I want to write. And maybe that's a little bit scary because it means facing myself, but isn't that what I'm doing with all these YouTube videos? Isn't that what I'm doing by going to 12-step programs? Isn't that what I'm doing by journaling? I'm already doing all the stuff that I'm afraid of doing. And I've already worked through this stuff before. And there really isn't a whole lot of scary, horrible secrets that I'm holding or hiding. I'm not this scary, horrible person. It's just that I've been in relationships and situations where I wasn't treated with the respect and the love that I deserved. And I felt like I was being, I want to say treated fairly, but I wasn't. I wasn't. But I felt like I deserved to be punished somehow. And I felt like it was my fault, that if I could just change myself, then the relationship would be better. The other person would treat me better. And I've learned that changing myself is a way of saving myself, and is a way of making myself better and getting to know myself, becoming more self-confident and seeing my own value, to the point where I don't believe other people's lies about me and who I am, or I don't believe that I deserve to be treated poorly. So when people are treating me with disrespect, I can just blow it off and just be like, hey, that's your loss, whatever. I don't deserve this, and I can walk away. I don't have to try to fix it. I don't have to try to convince the other person to treat me better, because I think I do that. I think I'm in this stage right now where I'm like, okay, I feel like I deserve better, but now I have to prove it to everybody. I have to get everybody to treat me better. And I want to get to that point where I'm like, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way about me. I'm sorry you don't like me, because obviously I can't please everybody. But I'm also not going to change who I am to try to make somebody else happy, because I've been there. I've done that. I think part of me is still trying to do that, and it doesn't work because I'm not happy. It doesn't end up making the other person happy, and then everybody's miserable. That kind of reminds me of a quote from Lady and the Tramp, but miserable being seeks out more miserable being, then he's happy, or something like that. Because misery likes company, or something to that effect. But I don't want to be the miserable person seeking out more miserable people. I want to be a happy person, finding happy people, and I want to be around people that will help encourage me and lift me up, and I want to be able to help encourage and lift up other people. And I'm hoping that as people are watching these videos that I'm doing, that they can see the progress that I'm making, that it will inspire them or encourage them to work on the things that they've been avoiding or hiding from, and realizing that, God does love you, and He's there for you, and He will help you through whatever you need. And you just have to be willing to accept the love that God is offering, and realizing that it's so much better than what the world has to offer. And then when I look at what the world has to offer, it's nothing in comparison to what God has to offer. And it just means right now for me that I have to let go of my worldly views and my desires for worldly fame, because whether or not that ever happens doesn't matter. And if that's what's keeping me from finishing my books, from succeeding, from following through on my goals, from being happy with myself, I mean, seriously, it's not worth it. I need to start letting those things go, and letting go of stuff I've been holding on to, or dreams that I wanted, or the reality I thought my life was going to be is hard. It's not easy. I think that's part of a grief. We actually grieve things that we imagined we would have and then don't have. it's a way to accept what I do have. So it's still a process, but I like that in this process I can see myself making better choices. And maybe I don't make the perfect choices, and maybe I still procrastinate things to the end of the day, so I'm up really late doing stuff. But I'm still doing stuff, and I'm making those changes. And I know that as I continue to do that, that my desire to do the good things increases, and my desire to do, I mean, I'm not that the things I do otherwise, like watching TV or playing games on my phone, are bad things. It's only bad when I do it in lieu of the other things that need to be done, like writing my book or journaling or sleeping or exercise or work. It's when I do it in lieu of taking care of myself that they become bad things. But I mean, they can be fun distractions when I'm done with everything else and I just want to relax. Sure, I can watch a little TV. I just don't need to spend 8 hours a day doing it, or 8 hours a day playing my phone games, because there's so many other things I could do in that 8 hours a day. But I'm not going to spend the rest of today beating myself up over what I could have done, because I didn't do it. And I can't go back and change it. So that is something I am having to learn. But I can look at what I am doing, and that I am still getting things done on my to-do list, that I still read my scriptures and meditationals today, that I am still making my YouTube video, day 16, yay, that I can see that God is working on me and helping me to do things and continuing to give me ideas of things that I need to do to improve my health and my attitude. And so it's like, yay, I just opened the door a little crack and started letting God in to help me do stuff with my life. And he's like, oh, good, you're ready to change. Let's just throw all this other stuff at you. And I was like, I don't want that. And he's like, oh, yeah, you want to exercise. Oh, yeah, you want to do this. You want to get up earlier. You want to work on this. And I'm like, oh, crap. And no, it's stuff I do want to do, like cleaning my house and unpacking everything and starting to exercise. It feels overwhelming, like it's a lot to do. I realized today that I spent that much time playing on my phone to avoid doing it, that if I'd actually done it, it would already be done right now. And I was like, oh, crap. So God is still pointing out to me that I can do this, and that he's there to help me do this, and it is possible. So I just need to work on trusting him and putting my faith and trust in him and trusting myself and believing in myself that I can do things. And so I think that my belief in myself is growing every day that I follow through and make these videos, and every day that I write. And I'm also, again, reminded that when I'm stuck with that mental block for whatever reason, not wanting to do things, all I have to do is write. Pull out a journal, pull out a pen, type something up on the computer, and it will list all the reasons why I don't want to do something. And then all of a sudden, those reasons they lose power over me, and I no longer have any substance to them, and they're just like not valid excuses anymore. And it's like, okay, fine, I'll just get up and do whatever it is I need to do. And then when I'm done, I'm like, look what I did. This is so cool. I'm so excited I did this. I'm so excited I wrote a whole other chapter in my book. I'm like, yay. And my 10-chapter book is now 21 chapters. No, I just finished chapter 20 last night. And I'm pretty sure instead of one more chapter like I thought I was going to have, it's probably going to need another chapter to connect this one to the last chapter. So a little bit frustrating because it keeps ending up getting longer than I wanted it to be originally. But I'm grateful that I'm just letting the story write itself, and that I'm not trying to cut it off early or force it, because I've learned forcing solutions doesn't work. And if I force the ending to come too soon, then it's just going to be like this abrupt ending, and that's not going to make me happy, and it's certainly not going to make anybody reading it. They're going to be like, this is so good. I'm like, wait, what? How did that just suddenly happen? I hate shows like that or books like that where it's like they don't actually lead you to the conclusion. They're just like, okay, well, that's the obvious conclusion at some point, but it's like the character just jumped a step to get there. So I don't want to do that with my book. I want it to be a good book. I want it to be something that people want to read. And so that is my goal in writing my book, is hoping that, one, it's telling my story. It's helping me process and let go of things. It's turning my daydreams into books. So not necessarily into a reality, but into something useful, so I don't feel like I've wasted all this time making these stories. It's also making it so that I don't feel like I have to run and hide by making stories in my head, that I can write them. And obviously the more I write, the more room I have to create new stories in my head. So I don't have to keep holding on to things. It's teaching me how to let go and then just trust God and let other people, make up their own minds whether they like my books or not. And so I'm getting there. I'm getting excited. I'm getting close to finishing the book. And I know there's lots of other steps that have to be done once the first draft is finished. But I'm just excited at the idea of finally finishing the first draft of my book. So I'm just grateful to be reminded that writing is my outlet. It is my gift from God that I need to share with the world. So I'm trying to do that. But my journal entries I'm going to keep to myself. That, and I can't read most of them because I have horrible handwriting, which is why laptops are really good for typing up stories. Because I've handwritten some of my parts of my stories sometimes, and I go back and try to read what I wrote, and I'm like, yeah, I can't read this. We'll start from scratch somewhere. So anyway, I am just grateful for today, and I hope that you guys have all had a great day and that you're focusing on things you can be grateful for and seeing the Lord's hand in your life and trusting Him and accepting the love and gifts that He has to offer you, as I'm learning to do that for myself too. So have a great day. Thank you.